Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us today for a very special edition of It's a Peer-to-Peer World Virtual Conference. My name is Nuti, and I'm the Editor-in-Chief and Content Director of Nonprofit Pro. I'm really excited to join you today as MC for today's conference, and this conference is brought to you by 5 companies that serve nonprofits. They've come together to share their unique experience and knowledge with you today. And the companies are Acceleris, Cathexis Partners, Charity Dynamics, Maureen Walbioff, and Omatic. And so that you have some background for today, the Peer-to-Peer World Virtual Conference is typically held each year in the fall, but we're bringing it to you today to provide you with some practical tips for virtual events and campaigns that you can start using right away during this time when in-person fundraising events aren't really an option. So we've had more than 1,800 unique RSVPs for today's conference, so it's clear that our sessions today are very much needed at a time in our sector. Please note that if you did not register for one of the sessions available today and would like to attend, visit peertopeerworld.com and register for the session. After you register, you'll receive a unique link to attend the session. The title of this session is Stewardship That Works. Build a strong relationship with your virtual event P2P fundraisers. During this session, please feel free to submit any questions you may have through the Questions tab in your GoToWebinar control panel. The speaker will answer your questions toward the end of the session. And please note that this session will be recorded and made available online after today's conference. And with that, I'll turn it over to you, Maureen.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here with everybody. It is indeed a virtual peer-to-peer world right now, just a general peer-to-peer world, I think. So my name is Maureen Walbioff. I'm a nonprofit digital strategist and technology coach. Here's a little bit about me. I've worked inside and alongside nonprofit organizations for many years. I live in Massachusetts, out on beautiful Cape Cod, and the reason I'm talking to you today is because I help organizations take strategy and their technology and their business processes to do good things in the world. It's kind of hard to get all those things to line up. And I do believe that it is possible to tame your nonprofit tech, no matter what systems you're using. I don't care what you're using, as long as they're the right things to meet your strategic and budgetary and functionality needs. We're going to talk about 3 big things today, and we'll also have plenty of time for Q&A. So if questions occur to you, please plop them in, and Nu will ask me those questions toward the end. So first topic, peer-to-peer fundraiser stewardship is challenging. No duh, Maureen, but we're going to talk about why and what to do about it. We'll spend some time about the magic of appreciation, micro appreciation for your virtual peer-to-peer fundraisers. We're going to talk about some tools and tactics. I've got lots of things to show you. And then again, we'll have that time for Q&A at the end. Peer-to-peer virtual fundraising stewardship is challenging. It's hard to do. It's not as easy as stewarding other segments of our supporters and our audiences. Before we talk about why it's really so challenging, let's get all on the same page about what stewardship actually is. Stewardship generally is this first bullet, right? You've got to oversee, take care of, protect something that you feel is worth preserving. When we think about stewardship in nonprofit world, it is about donor stewardship, generally speaking. Often major donor stewardship, but it's about progressively building these strong, healthy relationships with your supporters. Usually stewardship kicks in after somebody's made a gift. Maybe we do some engagement with people to get them to make that first gift, but stewardship usually happens once somebody is officially a donor. And the point of stewardship and stewarding our donors is we do want to make sure that they know that we know they gave, that we appreciate it, how we're using that money, and the impact that that donation has made. So that's kind of general donor stewardship. And the goal of donor stewardship, again, yeah, we all know this, Maureen, it's to get the supporter to give money again. That's what we do all day. I know that's what most of us who are sitting here looking at this slide today are involved in. But the goal of peer-to-peer, especially virtual peer-to-peer fundraiser stewardship, is not to convert them to become a donor. It's to get that fundraiser to raise money for you again. Possibly to convert them into a subscriber, not to convert them to be a donor, not to get them to join your newsletter necessarily. Very different goals. This is a slide that I used in a virtual peer-to-peer webinar that I did with Blackbaud last year for a peer-to-peer DIY guide book that I wrote with them in 2019. And this is the fundraising spectrum for organizations, right? Traditionally org-driven on that left side of the screen, sort of the green middle, giving days, it's virtual. The participant, the fundraiser, makes the decisions about what they're going to do and when they're going to do it. And we're going to spend time right in that green area for the rest of our hour today. Virtual peer-to-peer fundraising, I think everybody here probably knows this, but there's some things it really does well and some things it doesn't do well. And we're keeping the fundraiser in mind, not the donors, the fundraisers. They're a great way to get people to support your cause when they want to, how they want to. Hopefully it's convenient. Hopefully it's a little fun. It's a chance to leverage your existing community. And I know we all put a lot of time and effort and brain power into building our audiences, whether they're email subscribers or social media followers. Virtual peer-to-peer fundraising is also a good opportunity to raise small funds for specific asks, and it also does help you find and cultivate new relationships with those fundraisers. So those are the things it's really good at. Not so hot, though, on the other side of the coin. Not a great way to acquire new donors that you can contact again in the future. There is at least one degree of separation, sometimes many more, between your peer-to-peer donor and you. It's also not a way to expand your monthly giving program. That's not going to happen. One-time gifts only. And it's usually not a method of growing your email list. Why do we bother then? There's so many things we can't do that we traditionally try to do with our subscribers and our donors and our event attendees and our advocates. Here's a little data from Facebook. We're going to talk a little bit about Facebook today, but not exclusively by any means. $3 billion raised so far by people who just felt like fundraising for an organization. Facebook fundraisers raised twice as much as fundraising pages on other platforms. This data is from GivePanel, by the way. Conversion rate is 13% higher than a very good nonprofit website donation form. And I spent so much time looking at and thinking about improving nonprofit donation forms. 88% of donors say they're likely to give through Facebook again. Facebook is a funny thing because we all have thoughts and feelings about data protection and privacy, but it is giant adoption for the general public. Taking your peer-to-peer program virtual is something we're all thinking about right now, whether it's a gala, whether it's an auction, whether it's a 5K that you used to run every year, a dog wash, whatever. 2020 is different. We have to give people even more of the tools that they need to do the fundraising where they are, when it's convenient, how they want to do it. And this is a little tricky because you've got some synchronicity, like a giving day or a virtual challenge. And I would tell you that virtual challenges are big in 2020, and they're going to continue to grow. So jot down virtual challenges on Facebook especially, and do a little internet research because it might be a tactic that works well for you. You might want to try it this year. So that's the synchronous. Everybody's participating on May 5th because it's Giving Tuesday now. Virtual challenges, same thing. But most of the time, peer-to-peer fundraisers are just doing their own thing, right? It's my birthday. Maybe it's 27,000 other people's birthday, but I'm starting a fundraiser because it's my birthday, or in honor or tribute of some other event or memory. This is the slide that makes everybody go, yeah, this is the problem here. Your peer-to-peer platform really has a huge influence over what you can do to steward your peer-to-peer fundraisers. On the left side, if you own the platform, you're using something like Classy or CrowdRise or TeamRaiser or Rallybound or all these nonprofit peer-to-peer fundraising platforms, you have a lot more ability to collect and use data, and you've got a lot of control. You can control what kind of fundraising you let people do, the contact information that they must provide, how long somebody's fundraiser can be open, and data. But on the right-hand side, which is really Facebook, social media, CrowdRise, where people can go unbeknownst to you and start a fundraiser for you, look at no control, no ability, very limited. It's hard. We're not used to working like this. It feels constraining. But what I would tell you, I love this meme. I try to use it like at every webinar right now. But there's no easy way for me to capture the Facebook fundraisers information. Why bother? Again, I say why bother, especially with Facebook, because there's a lot that you do have access to and a lot that you can do. And if you think about that $3 billion raised and you think about that conversion rate and you think about 88% of donors will give on Facebook again, now you know why. You want to work with what you have. This is a glass half full moment. Even before 2020, when everybody was having in real life peer-to-peer events, donors were never really the point. The money that the fundraisers raised was the point. But really, we didn't even call them fundraisers. They were participants, a la participating in an event. We mostly stewarded team captains because they were responsible for everybody on their team, and the success of the team captain's fundraising often was a predictor of how well the team was going to do. And we all know it's always been a challenge to convert peer-to-peer donors into true donors, supporters of our organization, no degree of separation. And I've beaten this drum a lot. Why don't you try to get your peer-to-peer donors to convert, to become true donors to your organization? I've got a video on my Facebook page from a few months ago where I talked about how to do that. But it's hard, it's time-consuming, doesn't always give us a good ROI. Thinking about stewarding our virtual peer-to-peer fundraisers causes you to have a shift in your brain. It's not like our other fundraising. It's not even like other peer-to-peer fundraising that's related to an event. We got to manage it in a different way. So I want you all, when you're thinking about this back in the office or in your distributed teams, you got to be experimental. Who's going to own it inside your organization? Somebody needs to. If everybody owns it, nobody does. Find out what data you have access to and how you're going to use it. And the last bullet here is a really critical strategic question. What's better for us? What's better for our organization? Is it better to try to convert the fundraiser into a subscriber so I can then contact them and communicate with them and try to draw them in closer? Or is it better to help them do more fundraising for you and not try to convert them to come onto your list? Every organization is going to answer that a little differently. Okay, this is my favorite. I love recognition and appreciation. Micro appreciation, little tiny personal things make a huge difference to how much money your peer-to-peer virtual fundraiser is going to bring in for you and how they're going to feel about it. So what it really is pretty much what it sounds like, right? Showing recognition and gratitude when someone has started a fundraiser, checking in with them while their campaign is running, thanking them again when their fundraiser is over. You certainly can provide tips, pointers, help setting goals, but that's not appreciation. That's like a toolkit. So again, our focus is on the peer-to-peer fundraiser. These three things are true no matter what platform you're using or the fundraiser is using to do some personal fundraising for you. Micro appreciation is personal. It's personal, like Netflix knowing the last 5 things that I watched and suggesting appropriate new series to binge. It needs to feel like a one-to-one effort. from the fundraiser's perspective. But you don't have to physically ping everybody. You can, and many organizations who are doing this peer-to-peer fundraiser stewardship absolutely have a human person who posts a little message, boop, thank you, Sherry, thank you, New, thank you, Mark. Technology does make it easier for you to provide honest, genuine feeling touches, and you can use multiple channels to do this using the data that you have. As you're thinking about this, again, looking at virtual peer-to-peer fundraising for 2020, for the rest of the year, you need a stewardship plan, my friends. For you to just throw a bunch of spaghetti at the wall, you're going to get some data, you're going to get some results, but if you can come up with a plan, with a strategy to actually reach out and steward these folks, it will get you miles further for the same amount of effort. So what does success look like? If you really do steward your peer-to-peer fundraisers, what's the outcome going to be? What do we think it's going to be? How are we going to know if we're accomplishing our goals through maybe email touches or digital content or social media thank yous? A little bit of measurement is always a good thing. Quantitative, just 3. If you haven't done this before, you're not quite sure if it's working or not, take a step back, define 3 quantitative metrics. What 3 things, data points, are we going to measure to know if we're on track or off track? And then we all love qualitative, right? We all love subjective data. I'm observing. This is what happened. So pick 3 qualitative metrics that you can create to measure these efforts. We've got more followers. I guess that's a data point, sorry. Qualitative would be this person who is a Facebook fundraiser who was stewarded has started 2 more fundraisers for us this year. How about that? So thinking about what's possible, whether it's your platform or it's anonymized, it's CrowdRise, Facebook, something like that. If you do have the fundraisers data, if they're in a platform with a campaign for virtual peer-to-peer that you personally have set up, these are the things I want you to do. Send them a special email welcoming them to your peer-to-peer program. Acknowledge why they're fundraising for you. Did they pick the in memory? Did they pick in celebration? Is it a kid's thing? Is it a birthday thing? You have a lot of information when you control the platform. I want you to offer those tips and tools to help them meet their goal, because if they're successful, they're going to have a good feeling when they think about you and the fundraising that they've done for you. You've got their email address. Send a quick 3-question survey. Learn a little bit more about them. People love to be asked about themselves. So right after that fundraiser starts, get to know them a little better. And if you've got their data, you can compare their record. Are they new? Are they known? Have they done things before with us? Or is this a net new fundraiser? Where do they fit in the mix? Segmenting your peer-to-peer only fundraisers and sending maybe a quarterly special e-newsletter. You could even shout out campaigns that have gone beyond hitting their goal, or certain months of the year where everybody's getting in on starting a virtual fundraiser for you. And then remind them to start another fundraiser for you next year. When we control the platform, we often want to push them to become a donor, attend an event, volunteer, because they've done some things for us. They've raised money for us. Makes us want to do more with them. But for these folks, the proper thing to do, especially at the beginning, is to simply keep them where they are. Go back to that question. Is it better for our organization for me to try to convert them into something else, or to keep them fundraising for me a couple of times a year? What's better for the organization and our goals? If you don't have the fundraisers data, there's all kinds of things that you can do, so no more excuses. I'm wagging my finger. You can't see me. Send them a personal note welcoming them to your peer-to-peer program. If they're in Facebook, you can set up notifications so very easily. So someone in your organization, an admin on your Facebook page, will get a notification from Facebook that says, Maureen has started a fundraising campaign for you. You can find this out easily. You can certainly offer them tips and tools to help them meet their goal. Again, makes them feel better to have achieved and been successful for you. Cheering them on with 2 or more personal notes during their campaign, and we're going to look at some examples in a minute. This one, offer to send them a small token of appreciation in the mail. So Give panel, Nick Byrne is just a phenomenal thought leader in the especially Facebook fundraising space. And he has found with his clients that after a fundraiser is over, let's say it's a birthday fundraiser, Mark starts a fundraising campaign, it wraps up. The organization sends Mark a note, whether it's messenger or posts on his timeline or something, and says, "Hey, Mark, we would love to be able to contact you and send you a token of appreciation. And if you give us your address, we can mail it to you." And the token of appreciation is like a sticker. It's not a trophy. It's not a T-shirt. It's not a sweatband. It's a sticker. It might be something that you have around the office right now. The more you offer them a token of appreciation in the mail, the conversion rate to actually capture their contact information triples. Start a new social media group just for your personal fundraisers. You could do that on Facebook easily. Make a little community out of it. See how you can grow that community. Push some special content in there. Celebrate some wins together in that group. Nobody wants another a Facebook group, but that can work. And also remind them to start another fundraiser for you next year. Caveat, you have to test your own tactics. Your mileage is going to vary, so you're going to try some things. Nonprofits, we're very good at starting and never stopping, or never starting at all. So what I'm going to tell you is think about whatever you're going to do next, if it's enhancing your virtual peer-to-peer fundraiser stewardship or starting something like that, test it, try it for a couple months. This is a great place to be super experimental, for sure. Not buttoned up, not locked down. This is about casual. Don't get discouraged if you don't see an immediate payoff. Even if you do it for 3 months, you're going to get some data out of it. You may not raise $1 billion, but you're going to learn some things that you can then apply to your future efforts. And this is the best time to be creative, best time to be casual and creative. And we're going to look at some examples next. Okay, tools and tips. So thinking about, you've got data, you don't have data. You control the platform, you don't control the platform. They're doing it all at the same time for a giving day. They're doing it whenever they want for a birthday fundraiser on Facebook. Hard to wrangle. And so some technology tools are out there that will help you do some of this work. Some things happen by people power, some things you can plan, and depending on the platform and the data, you can automate these things and do some marketing automation. Before we look at the tools, I've been thinking a lot about 2020 and what that's going to mean for our industry, for our nonprofit family. Are we going to raise money this year or what? We all want to know how it's going to come in, and I think that's why we're all participating in this conference today, because we suspect, based on trends and based on all we have to work with right now is virtual stuff, that this is where we're going to be able to plant some seeds and raise some money throughout the rest of the calendar year. But all bets are off. There's nobody right now who knows how long this is going to last and what the long-term impact of dealing with a pandemic, with stay-at-home orders, with people becoming unemployed and ill, what's that going to do for 2020? So I took a minute and I looked back at the good old Great Recession. So I started a business with some business partners in 2008. It worked out fine, but boy, the bottom dropped out. And all of my clients at that time were very nervous about investing in staff, investing in fundraising strategy, investing in new websites. So I looked back to say, what happened the last time everything tanked? And I found something surprising, and it's actually kind of good news. Again, nobody really knows how this is going to play out. But the S&P 500, as you can see here, if you look towards the right side of that graph where it says 2007, the red line starts to dip down. S&P 500 dropped almost 39%, but giving only declined 8%. So maybe we'll lose 10, 12, I don't know, but it's not going to be 50. It's not going to be 75. So whatever you do it well, and continue it if it's working, and dump it if it's not. And play the long game here. Okay, let's look at some tools now. Video, communication, and micro appreciation with your peer-to-peer fundraisers, no matter what platform they're fundraising with, wins every time. I don't need to tell you that video is like the it girl and will continue to be for quite some time, I think. And I wanted to show you some examples of tools that can help you not expensively create and send personal videos to your fundraisers. Constant Contact lets you email a video. Has a whole template for it, really easy. So if your org is using Constant Contact, totally use that tool. ThankView is another platform, very big with higher ed and higher ed giving days. It's actually kind of pretty. You get the email and you click the envelope and the video pops out. It's kind of cute. BombBomb is another application that lets you create and send a video to anybody through social media channels. Quick sends. You could tweet it. You could put it on their Facebook wall. You could do lots of things with BombBomb. And then Gather Voices is another tool that's really great for capturing donor thank yous to peer-to-peer fundraisers and sending it back to them. Can you imagine like getting a video from someone in your organization after I start a birthday fundraiser? Hey, Maureen, thanks so much for starting that birthday fundraiser. We're going to be sending you some tips. We'll post them on your timeline, or we'll put them on our page and we'll tag you. Thanks again for your support. So good. And then you could even use those in, put them on a YouTube channel or in other, you can totally reuse that video content. If you've got their address, their email address, you can email. These are some examples from Classy for the Thought Project. So somebody's hit 50% of their goal. That's that first screen grab on the left. Congrats, Matt. You're halfway to your goal. Here's a pro tip, and then a link to have them go post an update on their fundraising page. A week before their fundraiser is over, only 1 week left. This is synchronous, so everybody's fundraising at the same time in this particular campaign example. We appreciate your help. Thanks for being a part. Hey, go post an update. In other words, share some information so that your friends and family and connections know that you're fundraising for us. The final one is you've reached your fundraising goal, that appreciation and recognition. We are tracking so much about what our supporters do and don't do, but we often don't use that information in a way that is felt to the supporter or the peer-to-peer fundraiser. I know you're tracking me when I go onto your website or when I hit your social media channels. I know that you are capturing some information about me, and you need to use it in a way that lets the fundraiser know that you are paying attention to them. That's that one-to-one feeling. It's that micro appreciation. I know, Matt, I'm paying attention. Thank you. Wow, look at you go. What a difference you're making. So simple. These are not hard things to think about, set up, and test. If you've got their phone number, their cell phone number, you can text them. Now, many times nonprofits are using text tools to actually try to fundraise. You don't have to fundraise with these systems. So you can absolutely use these same platforms, and there's a billion of them, to text your peer-to-peer fundraisers if you've got their cell numbers. So QGive, thanks for registering. Oh, remember 5Ks and a discount code, right? So that's sort of straightforward and basic, that QGive. Mobile Cause, I think many of us have either played with that or seen some of their thought leadership materials. For that middle screen grab, you're apply to be a Hand of Hope medical or dental volunteer today. That's the message in this particular example. It could easily be, hey, thanks for starting your birthday fundraiser. Hey, thanks for starting your tribute page. Here's a link to get more tips and tools. Here's a link to a video that is just a general video thanking our peer-to-peer fundraisers. And then Give Lively. Give Lively's been around for a while. This one also is a little bit more donor-centric, this example that I'm showing you. But what I love is that they're texting pictures. And, same with video. Images are always going to prompt more of an emotional response than text will. And we all know that people's response to text is higher than their response to any other type of communication. Blows email out of the water. Social media communication tools. We all see chat bots all the time when we're looking at websites. Hey, what brings you here? A little tiny little animated person or icon in the bottom right-hand corner of many websites that you see. So let's look at these from left to right, some social media communication tools. GivePanel. I've mentioned Nick and GivePanel once already in this session. Again, no business relationship to any of these guys. Don't care what you use. GivePanel is an application that connects to Facebook and pulls your data out and helps you measure it and also create stewardship plans for your fundraisers on Facebook and automates and gives you some moves management functionality and plans and tasks for your stewardship of your Facebook peer-to-peer fundraisers. So it's very cool. It also, if you're a TeamRaiser user, has an integration with TeamRaiser. And I'm seeing some nonprofits really get a lot of mileage out of their GivePanel return on investment. In the middle, we've got ManyChat, very common chat bot. You can also use a messenger bot. You can build your own chat bots. There's things that you can do very easily. You don't need to be a developer. ManyChat, lots of people use. It's a big name on Facebook. And this is sort of a little example of what happens. So you can see that Jonathan is a subscriber. We've got a little bit of info about him from Facebook. And I can start the chat. Do you see how I've got tags? I can actually tag my Facebook fundraisers if I know a little bit of interest about them, interest info. And then down in that bottom left-hand corner of that ManyChat screen grab is the chat bot automation. After somebody starts a birthday fundraiser, send a welcome message. After 2 days, send a discount code. After 3 days, whatever you're going to do. So very moves management oriented, but using a chat bot in Facebook Messenger. Instagram started their donation sticker sometime last fall, I think, and I'm seeing some nonprofits get some traction with Instagram fundraising, mostly around prompting people to give and thanking folks who give. Kenji is an app that is a chatbot for Instagram. Because Facebook and Instagram are all one company, you can integrate your Facebook chat messenger bots with your Instagram page. You don't need to have two of them running. But if Instagram is where it's at for you and not necessarily Facebook, you could use something like Kenji to create a dialogue that feels personal with your new fundraisers. Personal, small. You can also post on social media. So this is super Facebook oriented, but again, lots of examples. I wanted to just walk through some things that nonprofits are sending and posting to their birthday fundraisers. So Humane Rescue Alliance, that upper left-hand box, friend of mine started a birthday fundraiser. Immediately, there you go. Human Resource Alliance posted a message on his birthday fundraising page. Excellent. And as part of setting up that birthday page, he provided his birthday. So they were able to personalize, happy belated birthday, celebration hat, emoji. Feels personal, right? I don't know whether Human Rescue Alliance, an actual human, put this in there, or if it was an auto post. Don't know how much manual intervention, but it feels like a person. Be the Match, huge virtual peer-to-peer fundraising program, humongous. If you want to look at a good model, go over to Team Be the Match and check them out. Doing a ton of great stuff. Amy started a personal fundraiser on Facebook for her birthday, and here's a message that Be the Match posted. It gave her a little reminder of why raising money for Be the Match is important. And then click this link. That's a chat bot. That's Messenger. That's giving me permission to communicate with you through Facebook Messenger. And the birthday fundraiser, Amy, liked it, loved it, gave it the little heart. The middle box here, Breast Cancer Care, they're a UK organization. And look at that. That's beautiful. Personalized. Happy birthday, Paulette. Again, a couple little emojis there. Thank you so much. This is what you're going to do. We really appreciate it. Wish you the best of luck from a person named Helena. That is stewardship, man. I should have made that just one slide. A beautiful image, inspiring, with another message of thanks. You guys can do this. You can totally do this. You're probably creating assets now that can be used to help you do this stuff. Laura Lynn, on the right-hand side, from Ireland, feeling thankful. A real person. Hi, Siobhan. Congrats on exceeding your target. We would love to send you a thank you card for all your support, and keep in touch. If you'd like to hear from us, submit your contact data in the form below. And it's a Google form. Many thanks, Sierra. And just a little image. I'm sure that was made on Canva, right? A little note to say thank you so much. So simple. We make it bigger and more sophisticated and more challenging than it needs to be. If you want people to fundraise, do peer-to-peer virtual fundraising, you have to promote it. Now, we could do a whole other session on marketing it, and that may be coming up next. I'm not quite sure. But I wanted to show you an example from one of my clients, VH1 Save the Music Foundation. They have a development team of 4. One of them is the director. One of them is a college intern, and they raise a lot of money with Facebook fundraisers. So on their homepage, if you look at that box, how can you save the music, do a street performance on the left-hand side of the screen. Right next to their donate button on their homepage, they have a button that says fundraise, taking up that precious upper right-hand corner real estate on their website because it's that important. If I click that button, I get taken to a very simple page. Set up your fundraiser. We're going for Facebook. Here's what to do. If you need tips, takes me to an ideas page. But when I click over to Facebook, it's already, the birthday fundraiser is already set up for me. All I have to do is plug in a little bit of information and I can get started. And they have a second option if folks aren't into Facebook fundraising. They have people who can use other tools that they do control a little bit more of. But because Facebook has been a frictionless peer-to-peer fundraiser experience for them, they are promoting it. And it's always a good idea to give people ideas. That's also on the page in that box on the right-hand side. Still have questions, contact us. So if you're feeling like people start fundraisers and they don't really hit their goals, or their goals are too big, or you don't have a way for people to get a hold of someone and ask a question, think about that. Try to fix that. We often let the fear, whether it's fear of success or fear of failure, stop us from trying things. And sometimes it's the culture inside our organization, whether you're a large national affiliated org with many chapters, lots of sophistication, lots of budget, or you're a new organization that's smaller and scrappier and figuring it out on a shoestring. We often make things harder than they should be by trying to do things perfectly. So this is a case where stewarding your peer-to-peer fundraisers, do not let the perfect get in the way of the good. Something is always better than nothing. Something small and sincere is always better than a mass-generated touch. I hear this all the time. If I start personally thanking all my birthday fundraisers, I am never going to be done. Okay, may that be the case. If you get crushed because you have 20 trillion birthday fundraisers on Facebook and you can't possibly thank them all, that is a champagne problem. You're looking at it in a way that is not benefiting you. Yeah, it's a great thing for a volunteer to do. It's a great thing for an intern to do. Everybody's working from home. Have people monitor your Facebook page and ping, comment, cheer on, steward the people who are raising money for you, whether it's Facebook or your own platforms. If you don't know what you're doing, welcome to the club. Okay, lots of us are making this up as we go along with some best practices and some good research. Don't worry about it. As long as you're not going to offend anybody, just give it a try. And don't try to set up something super sophisticated. Step a toe in the water. Learn some things for a few months. Grow it, change it, tweak it, do something else. Don't be so hard on yourself, especially when we're all trying to work from home right now and we're not quite sure how those funds are going to come in. Okay, New. We've got time for some Q&A. Have any questions come in?
Yeah, we have a few that came in. Let me take a look here. All right, so the first one I see is how important is it to provide a toolkit to fundraiser coordinators, and what is your advice on how we can equip them to be champions for our organization?
I think that's a great question. I would ask them. I might send people a survey, folks who have done that before, or your volunteer coordinators, and ask them what they need. You can also look around at what other organizations are providing and try use some of those as models. You don't have to make it up on your own. You can look around and find things that seem like they might work. But if you're not sure, the right step is to ask.
Awesome. And someone else asked something that was related to the survey questions, which is what 3 survey questions would you ask?
Tricky. I would ask why they chose us. Why'd you choose my organization? What's your relationship with our work, maybe, is how I might phrase it. That's question 1. Question 2, have you fundraised for us before? Especially if you're not sure, you don't have any data. And I would probably want their zip code. Actually, I'd want to know, are they close to one of our offices? Are they out in the middle of nowhere? I would want a little bit of geographic info from them.
Great. All right, so we have a few more questions here. So you noted, that's not a good one. All right, so is there a way to get alerted in Facebook when a fundraiser begins to exceed a goal? Or is this all manual and you have to look every few days?
If you're not using an application, like a program that connects to Facebook, like a Give Panel or a Give United or something like that, it is manual, and you sort of have to dig in those transaction reports to find the info. If you're using an app, like a Give Panel or a Give United, and there's probably a couple other ones out there, that you can get a notification when somebody's getting close to a goal or when they hit their goal.
Lovely. Are there any privacy issues with tagging donors or fundraisers on social media? Well, that's a good one.
Yeah, I think this is a tricky one. Here's what I'll say. If someone has started a Facebook fundraiser for your organization, totally tag them, because you're not their friend, right? So you probably don't have permission to post that video on their timeline, let's say, or post a message on their timeline. So post on your page or on their birthday fundraiser page, not their personal page, and tag them there so they'll get a notification that there's something there that that is about them and for them. So if it's inside the same platform that someone has initiated a fundraiser in, I don't see any privacy issues there at all. One thing you might do is ask permission. Is it okay for me to promote you on my Twitter feed? I want to shout you out. You exceeded your birthday fundraiser goal, new. And I want to be able to hashtag that, and I want to be able to @ you so that I can include you in that post.
Yeah, and I would say the same thing. I mean, if you're unsure and you don't know, it doesn't hurt to ask. I'm sure they'd be super appreciative of it.
I think so. We all want, we all want to be recognized and appreciated. Although,
for sure.
And this is different than like a donor who wants to remain anonymous. Facebook is about as public as it gets. You certainly can lock people out and not have people see you and not follow who you don't want to follow. But it's kind of an open door. And again, 88% of donors say that they would give again, so they're not overly concerned about privacy. I don't know. That's another session for another day. New, what have you seen in terms of peer-to-peer stewardship? I know you fundraiser stewardship. I know you swim in these waters a lot.
We do swim in these waters, and we did host an annual conference on peer-to-peer fundraising. And when it comes to peer-to-peer stewardship, I mean, you've covered so much of it already. It doesn't have to be that complicated. I think everyone that fundraises for your organization, they just want to be acknowledged. They want to be appreciated, and they want to hear from you. They don't want generic emails and messages that sound really robotic, and you can tell there's
cheesy.
no effort. Yeah, so cheesy. You can tell there has been
Dear
absolutely
first name.
Yes, exactly.
Dear first
Thank you for your
name.
gift.
Thank you for your gift of X. We appreciate you later. Yeah, be effusive. There's nothing wrong with being over the top, right? Like that's okay. And because the donors don't focus on them, we've all spent most of our nonprofit careers thinking about donors. Engaging donors, getting more donors, getting donors to give again, getting donors to become a major donor, getting donors to convert to monthly donors. Stop it. Those tactics don't work here. And that's what makes us frustrated inside our orgs is that, like, this is what I do. I do this when I need to fundraise. I get on my little fundraising, tricycle, and I follow the road. And this is off-roading it. This is like hiking in the woods. Got to pay attention.
Yeah. You have to pay attention, and I talk to I've had podcasts about this, I've had articles about this, that like stewardship is not just something that you do before you want to ask someone for money. It's something that you have to continue throughout the whole year, like for years, in order for them to want to be passionate about your organization, to be like, hey, I'm going to take the time out of my day and use some of my resources and reach out to the people in my life so that we can raise more money for this cause that I am so passionate about.
It's so meaningful. It becomes meaningful. And I think if you've got volunteers or staff inside your organizations who are feeling like they're not all I do is gift data entry, gift processing, I'm just a typist, give them a day a week to do this stuff. Might change their attitude just a little bit. You're actually giving them something interesting to do. And just don't agonize over what you don't get. Just cut it out. Cut it out. You get enough, and if you want more, you can use a third-party tool to try to get more information. And I love the idea of, the fair exchange of sending them something. Can I send you something to say thanks? I'd like to send you a little thank you gift. They did not do the Iron Man. They didn't fly to DC and do the Marine Corps Marathon, or, they started a Facebook fundraiser. That's sticker worthy, or a pin or something like that. Yep. Any other
Yeah, I could.
questions, or do we have more?
No, we have more, and they keep
Okay, let's
coming in.
go.
Okay, so this next one is not a it's not a question, but I thought you should know. It says, Maureen, you are such a great presenter. Thanks for all the great info.
Thank you. This is my my third webinar this week, and I've got one more next week. So
Wow,
lots of
you're on a
practice.
roll.
I'm on a roll.
Um,
Absolutely.
so we just touched on this. We talked about stewardship and building relationships. Do you have any other recommendations on the best ways to recruit new peer-to-peer fundraisers?
Promote it. You have to tell people that you want them to do it. Is it hidden? Is it like a secret inside your organization that people can do peer-to-peer fundraising for you?
Yeah.
You need to put it front and center. It should be part of like your general communication in an appeal series, right? Like if you're gearing up for May 5th, you might want to think about letting people know that you would love for them to give to you on Facebook on May 5th. No, we're not going to get the donor data. I could hear it now.
Yeah.
Yeah, do it. Give it a whirl. Do an A/B
See what
test.
happens.
Yeah,
Yeah.
send 10%, give 10% of your audience the pitch to go to Facebook. What do? The other 90%, you drive to your standard donation form or something. But those conversion numbers don't lie, right? 13% higher conversion on Facebook than on our website's donation forms that we agonize over, and we try to change up, and they got to be responsive. You don't have to do some of that stuff with some of the other channels, but you don't get everything by using some of those other channels too.
All right, so this question is about donor data. For clarification, if a donor makes a donation on Facebook that is from, let's say, California, but the nonprofit is part of a national organization, how easy is it for the national organization to pull the donor data over into your
You're
database?
killing me. Like, I'm going to hang up right now. Like, I've hit it. Drop the mic. Outies. You gave me like the hardest use case to try to solve for you. So the answer is it has to do with your business roles inside your organization. I have worked in a national org, and I was part of a local affiliate in a state. And when we fundraised, sometimes people sent the checks to us, and sometimes they sent them to the national office. Was that my money? Was that their money? It's never pretty. So it is possible these third-party tools can help you pull a little bit more data out. But Facebook, we told them we wanted more privacy with our data, and this is what they did. They're like, okay, we're not going to give you much data about the people who give. You absolutely can get enough information probably to be able for the national office to say, hey, chapter and state X, I think this gift is actually for you. But I would have a strategic conversation about what your business rules are.
All right. So I have one more question for you.
Okie
So the question is, can I get notified when a new Facebook fundraiser signs up to support my charity? So we know the Give panel has this capability, but this person is asking, is there another way to do this?
Yeah, native fundraising. You need to be native Facebook functionality notifies you. So what you have to do, you've got to be an admin of your nonprofit's Facebook page. And in your settings, in your notification settings for the page, you can select notify me when someone starts a birthday fundraiser. Notify me when someone makes a gift. I forget what the exact choices are. I feel like you would watch me like click around 6 minutes if I was going to show you this on screen right now, but it is definitely possible, and it's a resource that maybe I'll provide to Cathexis and they could send out, or I can send out to people who've attended today. One way or the other, I'd be happy to get you the link to learn more about how to do that.
Well, perfect. Maureen, we're like pretty much out of time. So thank you so much for
You're
hopping
welcome.
on. And sharing your insights today. It's
You're
been
welcome.
really insightful. And hopefully it resonated with a lot of people and they're gonna take that home and start stewarding the poop out of their donors.
Just steward the heck out of them. That's what I want. Write that on a Post-it note and stick it on your desk.
Yeah,
Like, I'm going to
we need
steward.
that.
And I really appreciate the opportunity to present this information. I think we can do better, and we just have to wrap our brains around it a little differently.
I love it. All right, so thank you everybody for joining us in this session. And please note that if you will be joining us for the next session, you will need to log in using the link that you received in your email when you registered. With that said, I hope to see everybody at 2:30 for more virtual event goodness. All right, with that
Thanks,
said, have a
everybody.
great day.
Bye, guys.
Bye.